School and the holidays can be a recipe for disaster. You take a kid who already struggles to do their homework without a fight. They struggle to get up and get going in the morning and get out the door. And they struggle with wanting to be at school, stay at school. They struggle to get along with others while they're at school. And so then you add in the mixture of the holidays. So you add in change of schedule, change in routines, you add in, uh, you know, holiday parties, and you add in late nights and early mornings and all of this change, right? And school and holidays, they end up being this really nasty kind of cyclone of chaos. And so today, as part of our 7 days to less chaos, um 7 days to less holiday chaos, I'm going to be talking today about school and holiday struggles. And as always, you can grab the notes. All you have to do is just type calm below, and I'll make sure I get you these notes. So let me know where you're joining from and what you're struggling with. I know that there have been some massive school struggles. I just got off with one of my dear friends. She was part of our Calm the Chaos program for a long time. And we were talking about school anxiety and talking about school refusal to get up in the morning, refusal to go into the building, refusal to do homework. And if you've been following this page for very long, you know that is something that we are struggling with our youngest as well. It's been a big issue with our daughter this year, and it only is getting worse as the holidays are getting closer. And so I know that my friend and myself, we are not the only ones struggling with school, even if the school wants you to believe that you're the only one struggling with this. So here's the thing that a fascinating stat is that across the board, school refusal is up 300%. In fact, it's such a big problem that a team in Australia is wanting to study where this is coming from. Now, it is up after COVID, after having virtual school, after being home, with the increase of anxiety and stress and all the change that has happened over the last few years. And so you're not alone if your kiddo is struggling to get to school, to stay in school, to do the work at school, and you feel like you're just constantly battling your kid with school. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So let me know if you're dealing with this. I see Melissa saying, calm, like, I want the notes. Yes, please. She's in Fox Island, Washington. She's got a 7-year-old, and change in routine with holiday parties and increased visual clutter. Yes, right? The noises, the sounds, the smells, all this stuff really adds to the chaos. So today, what I want to walk through is 3 tips for you guys for getting through the holidays, getting through school changes without so much stress. And again, this is part of our 7 days to less holiday chaos series. We know that over the last 2 years, things have been really challenging for parents and for kids, and especially if you've got an out of the box kid, one who feels deeply, one who is highly sensitive, who is, just takes in the world differently, then we know that this is a difficult time. So let's just dig right in. I've got my notes. If I like look down, it's because I'm doodling. And so let's just dig in. The very first thing that I want us to talk about today is I want us to talk about when school is a problem. I always like to say it's never about the banana oatmeal. So what I mean by this is when our kid is refusing to wake up, they are running away from us when it's time to get in the car. They are screaming no when we say it's time to leave for school. They're dilly-dallying and not eating their breakfast, and they're putting their heels down and they're refusing to go into the school. If your kid is refusing homework, refusing to go to school, refusing to wake up, refusing to do schoolwork at school, it's never about school. So I want you guys to hear this. It's not actually about school. So here's what I mean by that. This is a lens shift. So we are going to shift our lens And so often we see this refusal as defiant, as disrespectful, as against us, as being rude, as being hurtful or harmful. And that isn't what's going on here. Our kids are telling us with their behavior that something else is going on. It is our job. My dog is here to say, yeah, of course. Okay. Sorry, someone came home. So let me just put that here. So we're going to shift our lens and we're going to realize that what we're seeing above the surface, right? That refusal, that defiance, that arguing, not waking up, that's all right up here. But there's so much more going on under the surface. And so we have to really look at, why is my kid refusing to do their homework, to go to school? Why is my kid refusing to do these things? And we use something here at Calm the Chaos called a behavior funnel. So the way this works is, if you think of under the surface, you've got this little filter here and it goes across like this. And so you put that refusal into the funnel, and there are reasons behind every single behavior. And the very first one is basic needs. Now, when people think of basic needs, so often they think of, having to go to the bathroom or being hungry, and that can be part of it. But what really the biggest one, and one of the biggest reasons behind school refusal, can be safety, emotional, physical, psychological safety. So this is that feeling of, school's a safe place for me. It is okay for me to make mistakes. It is okay for me to be me. It is okay for me to not know all the answers. It is okay for me to make mistakes. It is okay at school. I am safe emotionally, physically, psychologically at school. So and doing homework and getting up in the morning and those sorts of things. And so that is the first place I'm always looking when there is school refusal is, does my child feel safe? That's number one. Number two, and this one's super big, and we're not going to go into the whole funnel here because one, I don't want to keep you here all day, but you can usually solve a lot of this right at the top of this funnel. So the second reason why someone might be refusing school, why they might be refusing to do their homework, why they might be refusing to wake up in the morning, get in the car with you, get out of the car, whatever that is that they are lacking connection. So this means that they don't feel like they either belong, like they are accepted, like they can communicate their needs and they'll be heard or valued. It might mean that they don't feel like they have a safe place, someone or a safe person that they can go to and talk to at school. It might be that, you might do a ton of one-on-one time with your kid, but if during homework you're saying, why can't you do this? What's wrong with you? Come on, you know this. Like, let's get to it. That can be disempowering and disconnecting for your kid. And so what language, how can you shift your language there, right? So we're looking for, why might a child really be refusing school? And it's not about school, right? It's not just school. There's more under the surface here. And it's definitely not that they're being disrespectful, defiant, inappropriate, any of those things, right? And then the next one's super huge during the holidays, and that is sensory. And again, when you hear something that's like a big aha, just let me know in the comments. I thrive on feedback, so let me know. And you can get a copy of these notes by just typing calm in the comments. So the other one is the next part is sensory. And so if you think about the holidays, we talked about this, right? There's more lights, there's more sounds, there's more visual clutter on all the buildings, on all of the walls, and the smells are different, the routines are different, which can definitely shake that safety feeling, right? And so thinking about, has anything changed? Are they having to wear different clothes now because it's colder out? Are they having to eat different foods because of the time of year it is? Are they having to deal with different sights and sounds at school, or are they not moving enough because it's colder outside, right? So we're looking at sensory here. Next is super, super big one for school refusal. And that one is just skills. So, is your child lacking the skills needed to do the homework? Do they feel like they maybe because they've missed school, then they feel like they don't have, they can't do the writing or they don't know how to do the math or the multiplication. Maybe they're confused on what the steps are because they've missed some pieces. Are they lacking communication or self regulation skills? There can be so much here that's getting under the surface, especially like executive functioning skills, right? Is that right here? That can be a big reason why children are refusing school, especially during the holidays. And then the one that most people will jump to is these last two here. And so this is where you'll see people give punishments or rewards, right? You'll see people bribe their kids with something that their kids desire. Well, if you go to school, you'll get a Pokemon card, right? Or if you don't go to school, you won't be able to have a Christmas party, right? Like, so a lot of times we're jumping to this avoidance and desires when really that is like the very least of our concerns. And so that number one tip here when we're dealing with school and holiday is we want to switch our lens from this is just them refusing school, this is them being obstinate or bratty or disrespectful or stubborn, and switch to that lens of this behavior is communication. There is something going on here. And let me really pause to look at what is under the surface. So I'm going to switch my lens here and I'm going to look under the surface. That's number one. Okay. So I'd love to know. I see some big takeaways here already from number one is aha moment is safety to make mistakes. Yeah. And lacking self-regulation for a 7-year-old with ADHD. Absolutely. And self-regulation during the holidays can be incredibly difficult. So let's talk about what else we can do. And again, keep sharing your struggles in the comments. Just type calm if you're wanting to take these with us. Melissa is just like, we're having a one-on-one, Melissa. All right. Just you and I. So we're going to get through this, right? Our struggles and with school and the holiday. So the next big thing that happens during school and holidays is once you get clear on what this is, it's like, great, I know why they're doing it. Oh my gosh. I have two bears in my house, so I just have to wait a second because the postman just came. Because connection. My dogs love to talk to other people. Coda bear. Coda. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. I might have to go get him. This is why I usually do my lives outside. Rhonda's saying calm. Melissa's saying calm. Awesome. We're going to send over the notes when we're all done. Look, buddy, it's okay. It's okay. Come here. You want to come say hi? We got one right here. Oh my gosh, guys. These dogs. It's okay. It's okay. It was a mailman giving us mail. Okay. All right. We're going to try this again. Okay. So the second thing that is my big tip for my second big tip for dealing with school and the holidays. Okay, I'm gonna have to give this guy some love. Come here. All right. You okay? Are you telling me all about it? That there was a stranger at our door. All right, come here. You okay? Oh, you got yourself stuck. Guys, he got himself stuck. All right. You good? You good? All right. Ready? No, we don't have to bark. Hold on, guys. You're okay. You're okay. Oh my goodness. It's okay. This is why I don't do lives here. Guys, I'm so sorry. Okay, let me see if I can help him. Come on. Go. You're okay. Come on. Okay. Just left with you? You okay? Or are you gonna start barking? All right, guys. Oh my goodness. Big old dogs. We call them bears because they look like bears, right? Okay, so let's get back to this. All right, so step number two. The second big tip that I have for you is that once you can start changing your lens and realizing that it's not about being defiant, it's not about, sometimes it's not even about school itself, there's something else under the surface, is we do something here called a huddle. And the purpose of a huddle is really to problem solve with your kids and to help them be able to advocate for themselves. So you want to make a plan. Thank you, Melissa. My dogs are beautiful, but they really like to communicate, right? Real life live during the yes, of course, obviously. So the next thing that we really want to do is we want to involve our kids in the process of problem solving. So often, especially when it comes to school, we get really nervous and we start getting in our head of like, well, if they don't go to school, then I won't be able to work, and if they don't go to school, then they're going to live under a bridge for the rest of their life, right? So we start getting in our head, and then we top down as parents give them the plan. We say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, this is what we're going to try. But I really encourage you instead to have these conversations. And yes, even if your kids do not speak, you can still have these conversations. You can still communicate with your kids using pictures, using whatever communicative device that you use with them for other things. You can still have these great conversations and um, these just this great interaction and help your child problem solve. So you can say things like, I notice that you have no problem getting up in the morning and you eat your breakfast and you're all happy and loving. And then the moment that I say that it's time to go to school, you run away and you hide under your bed. So I can see that you're really struggling with something. Can you tell me more about it? So you're having them communicate with you. You're saying, oh, I wonder what we could do differently. I wonder what else we could do. And you're helping them identify maybe some of the things you're noticing here. Well, do you have a safe person at school you can go to when you're upset? How is math going? Or how is writing going at school? And having that conversation. Now, you can't probably talk about all of it. You're going to find these little bits and pieces, but you're going to have this conversation, problem solve back and forth, and then come up with a plan. And it might just be a plan for waking up in the morning. So when we wake up, we'll wake up and then we'll do this, and then we'll wake up, we'll do this, and then that, and then this, right? And so we're going to really focus in on this one little piece. We're going to focus on getting out the door in the morning, or we're going to focus on starting our homework, or how to ask for help. That's a big one for me, like helping my daughter be able to ask for help when she's at school. So we've come up with actually, she came up with a system where she's got these little cards at school that she can just turn over on her desk, because my daughter is someone who is not going to ask for help. She's not going to raise her hand or anything. And so she has this little card she can set out on her desk, which means that she needs help. She has another color card that she can put on her desk that says, I'm stressed out and I need a break. And so as soon as she puts that color card on her desk, she can leave the room. So it's coming up with a plan, right, for how to do the things that are most stressful, the things that are presenting this stress. So you're talking it out with your kids, and you're creating this plan for the most stressful moment, whether that is getting out the door, whether that is doing homework, whether that is the what we're going to do when we're overwhelmed at school. But we're coming up with a plan for the real struggle. What's really under the surface here, we're creating a plan for it. We're practicing it. We're playing with it on the weekends. We're role playing. We're talking about it. We're making this fun, and we're really involving our kids. Okay. So step number 2 is make a plan. Again, I'd love to know your big takeaways as we're going. What is resonating about making a plan? So we call this a huddle, where we talk together. We say, I notice. We talk about our concerns, and we come up with a plan together. We might skill build, things like that. So let me know in the comments what is really resonating with you, and specifically about your specific struggles with school and with holiday combined. So if I know that there's going to be a change in routine, so like my kids are going to be off school all week next week, and so what we'll do is we're going to be practicing a plan for getting up in the mornings when we go back to school. We'll be working on those routines and the morning routines and afternoon routines, things like that. Okay. Last but not least, moving into the third piece. And this one I think is super, super important because when we're dealing with school struggles, it can feel like all or nothing. It can feel massive and overwhelming, and it can feel really big. It can feel like everybody's eyes are on us and judging us and our parenting. Boy, have I been there. And so, what we want to really do, because we can get sucked into this feeling of overwhelm and dread, and our kids can get sucked into feeling of overwhelm and dread. And so if they're thinking about making it through all the holidays, that can feel really overwhelming. If they're thinking of making it through the whole day of school, that can feel overwhelming. If they're thinking about making it through all of their homework, that can be overwhelming. And so one of the biggest tips that I have for you with school and with holiday is to break things down. So instead of looking at like all the things that have to be done and you've got this big overwhelm, what you want to do is you want to break it down into small chunks. So that might mean that you break the day down into small chunks. It might be that you break the homework into small chunks, into 5-minute intervals. It might mean that you take breaks after certain pieces. It might mean that you focus on just getting to the school. That's all we're going to focus on. Or we're going to focus on just getting to the front door. We're going to focus on just getting to the car. Sometimes we focus on such a big first step. I'm going to go to school every day and be on time and do my schoolwork and be happy and come home with great grades, right? We give our kids all these things that they have to do, and it can feel really overwhelming, especially with the hubbub and the bustle and everything going on during the holiday season. And so, one of the big things here is instead of focusing on the end goal, right? Instead of focusing on that end goal, I'm going to focus on that first step and then the next step, because otherwise it'll feel like we're not making forward progress at all. And so we really want to celebrate every baby step that we're taking with our kids. So right now, my daughter has really struggled with going to school this year. She's really struggling with finding a safe person at school, a safe place at school. Plus, she's dealt with a lot of illnesses and as many kids are, right? Coming back from, 2 years of no school and or being masked up for a long time. So kids are getting sick and then they're bringing everything home and then it's cycling around the house. And so there's a lot of worry and fear around that sickness too, and getting other people sick. And so for my daughter, my number one goal is, can I get you to school, right? I don't care like how long you stay. I don't care if we're late, but let's get to school, right? Like that's the big, big goal right now is let's get to school. But a couple of weeks ago, the big goal was, I'm not going to school, and she wouldn't wake up. She wouldn't even get out of bed. And I'm like, you know what? We're not even talking about school right now. Let's just get up. Let's get our clothes on. And then once we get our clothes on, it's like, okay, let's eat breakfast. And then once we ate breakfast, it was like, okay, let's make a lunch. Okay, now that our lunch is made, let's figure out what the next step is. Well, typically that's school. So are we going to be able to get into the car? No, I don't want to go. Okay. So then we would work on that. But you're breaking it down into these like tiny baby steps instead of focusing on the whole thing. So you're breaking it down. So we're going to make a plan and we're going to break it down. So let me just review these. All right. Yes, change in routine and the illnesses have been so hard. So let's go over the three big tips today. So when you're dealing with the school and the holidays and the influx of school refusal, homework refusal, maybe even an increase of behaviors that are getting your kid in trouble at school, and you're getting calls home more frequently. Maybe they're having you're struggling with a teacher or anything like that, right? So these are the things that I would recommend. Number one is look under the surface. What is really going on under the surface of the school refusal, the meltdowns, the tantrums, the outburst, whatever it is that you're seeing above the surface? Look under the surface. Does your child feel safe? Is your child connected? Is there sensory overwhelm or underwhelm? Is your child lacking skills needed? Are they trying to avoid something typically because of one of these areas up here? Is there something that they really desire typically because of something up here? But think about it. If you've got grandma, grandpa in town, there may be a reason why your kids don't want to go to school, right? They want to stay home and be with grandma, grandpa. Um, and then next, number 2 is make a plan. Involve your kids, problem solve with them, talk out your concerns, your feelings, validate their emotions, and make a plan for small parts of the day that can help them feel successful. Number 3 is break it down. Instead of trying to solve it all, instead of trying to get ahead of the entire school day or in ahead of an entire 9 weeks or semester. Instead, break it down into these small little chunks, right? And focus on one baby step at a time and celebrate that progress as you're going. All right, so those are my 3 tips. If you want the notes, all you have to do is type calm in the comments and we will send that over. Now, this is part of our 7-day series. We're running a 7 days to less holiday chaos series every day right here on Facebook. I'm going live at noon Central Standard Time, and we've got notes every single day. And so I don't want you to miss it. And if you want to make sure you're getting the emails for these, you want to make sure to type calm and we'll send you a link to our Black Friday wait list. Now you might be being like, what? Black Friday wait list? Well, here's the thing. Every Black Friday, we put together an epic bundle of like huge proportions. And this year's no different. We know you've struggled over the last 2 years. We've listened to your struggles. We know that you're struggling with school. We know that you're struggling with bedtime. We know that you're struggling with your own reactions and emotions. We know that you're struggling with kids digging their heels in and being strong-willed more than ever. We know that you're struggling with parenting with different parenting styles. We know that you're dealing with electronics, tantrums, and meltdowns, and we've got you. All of those things are going to be addressed in our Black Friday bundle. And it is for just like an amazing, amazing price. And so if you're interested in our Black Friday bundle, we want to make sure that you don't miss it at all. And so we have a wait list for you. And all you have to do is type calm in the comments and you'll get 2 things. 1, you'll get this here. And 2, you'll get the link so that you can sign up for our Black Friday wait list. And you'll make sure that you're on our email list. So you're getting the emails every single day for these lives and for the replays that we put up on YouTube. And you'll be able to go ahead and be on the wait list for our Black Friday bundle, which is going to cover all the things we're talking about, but not just for holiday. It's going to cover all of this, but for everyday use. And so it is an amazing bundle. I don't want you to miss out on. Now, here's the thing. I try to leave some space at the end of each of these for my for Q&A, for a live Q&A. So if you are struggling with school, and especially school and the holidays, just type question and your question below, and I will answer your questions. And so I can usually take 1 or 2. I've got enough time. If you bought previous bundles, this is different. It does have some similar things, but I guarantee you that there will be at least one thing that makes it worth you having the entire bundle, right? Because everything that's in there, and I can't even tell you all the things that are in there, but for like every single item that's in there is at least the price of the bundle itself, right? And so you've got, I think it's like 27 items in the bundle. And even if you just used one thing in the bundle, it's worth the price of admission. Like it's amazing. So, and I'm not really, I just want you guys to have as many resources as you possibly can to help you, because I know that the last 2 years have been so, so difficult. So if you've got a question about school refusal, about homework, about an increase of behaviors at school, about advocating with the teachers at school, whatever it is, go ahead and put question in the comments, and I'm just going to answer as many as I possibly can. I'm going to give you a moment because I know it takes a moment to type them in. If you're watching on replay, you can ask as well. It's definitely easier if you're here live for me to answer your questions. So I'm just going to give everybody a minute. But again, if you're here, you're just joining us, you can just type in calm and I'll send you over the notes to school and holiday struggles as soon as this is over. So, do we have any questions about school? Lily, Melissa, Domina, Monica, any questions about school? Just want to make sure. I'm going to double check. Um, I see some takeaways. How do you help a child who masks all day then explodes at home? Oh, Lily, that is like such a great question. So, I don't know the full extent of what's happening, but that is where this is going to be super important right here, this plan, right? So, one, you're going to want a plan for after school that allows your child the safe place to release everything that they've pent up all day at school. And a lot of times that means starting with like looking at that behavior funnel and starting with basic needs. So making sure that you have that you're meeting them at school with quiet, with food, with water, and you're not really bombarding them with a whole lot of questions when they first get home from school. You're really giving them this safe place. So we created a plan just to give you an idea of some ideas or some solutions that could be possible. You want to create these solutions with your kid. But with our kids, when we did this, we said, hey, I noticed that when you guys come home, you guys are really fighting a lot. All the kids were fighting together. And so when you're fighting a lot, it was okay, so all this is happening and when we get home from school, there's a lot of arguments, there's a lot of fights, and so we need to solve this, right? And so how can we solve this? So we talked together as a family and we came up with a plan, and each kid would come in, grab their snacks, and then go to their safe place, which for most of them was their room. And then they would have a decompression time, 20 minutes, no people, no one else. And it was their time and space to just decompress. Now, for the kids that I knew needed to still kind of get out those feelings and emotions, then I would go to that kid and say, hey, just want to check in with you. I know that some days at school are really hard, and I can see that today you look really upset. And so I'm just curious, can we talk about that? Can we problem solve? Are you ready? Do you need a hug? Whatever it is, right? So you're working with them. Um, yeah, he eats on the way home, he naps after arriving home, and then he wakes up. So it would be Lily, instead of making the plan for right when you get home, it'd be making that plan for right after wake up, right? So it would be having and saying that. I notice that when you wake up from naps, that because you're so exhausted from school, you wake up and it's just really, really hard. So instead of waking up to whatever's happening in the house, creating a safe place to land afterwards, right? Okay. Any other questions about school? Again, we want to make this unique to our family, to your needs, but still following those same guidelines and frameworks. All right. Any other questions? I see Mildred saying calm. I love it. We're going to send this over as soon as we're done. We'll send over the link to the Black Friday wait list as well. Lily says definitely can do that. I love it. Says thank you. Please let me know how it goes. Fantastic. All right. Well, this is just, I want to remind each and every one of you guys. Oh, Domina's got a question. Okay, good. You got it in, Domina. So Domina says, what if super kid, that's what SK means, school complaints are mainly about the teacher's personality. So she's old way type of person. So for those of you that are new here, that means like punishments, rewards, discipline based, like very strict discipline based. How do I help him navigate an environment where he does not feel safe? Okay, that is fantastic, Domina. So Domina, what you're going to do here is a couple of things. One is you've already identified what's under the surface is that he doesn't feel safe. Number two is this plan is going to be super important. So you're going to model and you're going to get clear on just like one or two incidents. So when you think of it as like all or nothing, like she's always mean, she's always strict, she's always this way, then it can be really hard to find a place for to move forward. So instead, Ask him for examples. Can you give me an example of a time you felt unsafe? Can you tell me about what do you see or hear or feel that makes it hard for you to speak up? So when you have those specific examples, now you can make a plan for when this happens, I can say. So you're helping him identify one, how it feels inside his body, two, how he's going to know it's time to use that plan. So when the adult does this or says this, then I can do or say this. And then that helps him learn how to advocate for his own needs, for his own wants. But until he's ready to do that, you are going to be that in between advocate saying, hey, I notice that my son is really struggling during math time. He's coming home saying that he doesn't feel comfortable asking for help. Do you have any ideas of how he can ask for help? Again, I'm making up the scenario here because I don't know all the facts, but the idea here really is to pinpoint one small area, get really clear on what it looks like, sounds like, feels like for him so he can recognize it and then model and role play and practice what he can say or do when that incident comes up. And in the meantime, you can be his advocate and help him focus on the small progress. You can help him focus on the teeny tiny pieces that are working so that you have that foundation of connection, trust, and safety as he moves into doing it himself. These are great questions. I love this. Okay. All right, guys. So here's the thing. Super excited about our 7 days to less holiday chaos. This is day 2. Yesterday, we talked all about, I don't have my thing with me, but yesterday we talked about parenting a strong-willed kid during the holidays and 3 big tips for navigating the holidays with a kid who says no, who refuses, who has their own ideas and thoughts in their head, who strives on or thrives on a routine and needs things to be set in a certain way. So we talked about that yesterday. So you want to make sure that you watch that replay. If you type calm in the comments, we'll send over not only today's notes, but we'll also send you a way that you can sign up for our wait list for our Black Friday. And in that, you'll get the emails for this 7 Days to Less Chaos series. And with that, you'll be able to find the replays by being on that list. And then, just want to remind you that here at Calm the Chaos, we strongly believe that you are doing the best that you possibly can. And and that your kid is exactly who they're supposed to be. And so, yeah, it might not be perfect today. And yeah, there might still be some arguments, but you're here and you're listening to this and you're caring and you're trying. And that is what matters. You're showing up. And so that to me tells me that you are doing the best you absolutely can. And so I just want to remind you, you are an amazing parent. You are exactly the parent your child needs. Your child is not broken, does not need to be fixed, and they are exactly the child they were designed to be. So with that, I encourage you all to type calm in the comments below so you can get the notes. You can get a link to get on the wait list for our Black Friday bundle. And I will see you guys tomorrow where we're going to be talking about bedtime. With all of the holiday excitement, we're going to be talking about bedtime and how we can really help our kids get to calm, like get all that stuff out of their head so that they can calm down, they can go to sleep, they can get a good night's rest to deal with all of the amazing holiday goodness that is about to transpire for them. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.